Most men think attraction begins the moment their lips touch a woman's skin. That's the mistake. Attraction begins long before the kiss ever happens. In fact, the kiss itself is often just the final confirmation of emotional tension that has already been building between two people. If you truly want a woman to feel overwhelmed by your presence, you have to understand something deeper than physical chemistry. You have to understand psychological anticipation. Human desire is heavily connected to expectation. The mind reacts more intensely to what it imagines than to what it instantly receives. This is why mystery has always been more powerful than certainty. A man who rushes physical intimacy usually believes speed creates excitement. But psychologically, rushing kills emotional tension. It removes curiosity. It removes imagination. And once imagination disappears, intensity fades with it. Think about the moments women remember most. It's rarely the most aggressive man. It's rarely the loudest man. It's usually the man who knew how to create emotional gravity before making a move. The one who held eye contact just a little longer. The one who spoke calmly instead of trying too hard. The one who understood that attraction is built through emotional presence, not performance. A woman notices how you carry yourself before she notices how you touch her. Your energy speaks first. Your patience speaks first. Your emotional control speaks first. And this is where most men lose without realizing it. They become so focused on what to do physically that they completely ignore the emotional atmosphere they're creating around her. When a woman feels emotionally safe, mentally stimulated, and desired without pressure, her attraction naturally intensifies. Why? Because emotional safety allows emotional surrender, and surrender cannot happen in an environment of desperation, neediness, or force. A woman wants to feel that you are present with her, not simply trying to get something from her. That's why confidence matters so much. Not loud confidence, calm confidence, the kind of confidence that doesn't rush, the kind that understands timing. The kind that can sit in silence without panicking. Most people don't realize how seductive emotional composure really is. In a world full of people trying too hard, the person who remains grounded automatically becomes magnetic. Even your voice matters, the speed of your speech matters, the way you look at her matters. Attraction is often built through subtle emotional signals rather than dramatic actions. A slower tone communicates control. Relaxed eye contact communicates certainty. Gentle teasing creates emotional movement. All of these things slowly build anticipation inside her mind, and anticipation is powerful because the brain becomes emotionally invested in what it's waiting for. This is why a delayed kiss often feels more intense than an instant one. The emotional tension has time to grow. Her imagination begins working, her curiosity increases, she starts wondering what it would feel like. And psychologically, that wondering creates emotional energy. Many men underestimate how deeply women respond to emotional awareness. A woman does not just experience a moment physically. She experiences it emotionally, mentally, and psychologically at the same time. If your presence makes her feel seen, understood, desired, and emotionally comfortable, even the smallest touch can feel electrifying. But if there's no emotional connection behind the action, even physical intimacy can feel empty. This is where emotional intelligence separates attractive men from forgettable ones. Attractive men understand pacing, they read body language, they notice breathing changes, eye contact shifts, subtle reactions. They understand that attraction is not about forcing a moment, it's about recognizing when the moment already exists. And ironically, the less desperate you are to create chemistry, the easier chemistry happens naturally. Because desperation creates pressure, presence creates connection, there's also a philosophical truth hidden inside all of this. Human beings crave emotional experiences that make them feel alive. We remember moments that carried tension, uncertainty, vulnerability, and emotional depth. A meaningful kiss is powerful not because of technique, but because of what it represents psychologically. It represents trust, desire, emotional openness, shared tension finally being released. That's why the strongest attraction is never purely physical. Physical attraction can capture attention, but emotional tension captures memory. A woman may forget what you said word for word, but she will remember how your presence made her feel. And that feeling begins long before your lips ever touch her. The men who truly understand attraction know that seduction is not about taking control of a woman. It's about controlling yourself, your emotions, your timing, your energy, your ability to stay calm inside emotionally charged moments. Because the moment you stop trying to force attraction, you finally become attractive. And the truth is simple. The most powerful kiss is never the rushed one. It's the one that was emotionally earned. Once you understand that attraction begins psychologically before it becomes physical, you start realizing something even more important. Intimacy is not about intensity alone, it is about intention. Most men assume passion comes from being aggressive, bold, or overly physical, but real attraction often grows through subtlety, through precision, through understanding the emotional meaning behind touch. A kiss is never just a kiss. Where you place it, how slowly you approach it, and the emotional atmosphere surrounding it completely changes how it is experienced. This is why certain small gestures can create stronger emotional reactions than dramatic displays of affection. Because intimacy is deeply connected to emotion, and emotion is tied to meaning. Take the forehead, for example. Psychologically, a forehead kiss communicates protection, calmness, and emotional reassurance. It tells a woman she is valued beyond physical desire. And ironically, that emotional depth often creates stronger attraction than purely sexual energy. Human beings naturally become attached to people who make them feel emotionally safe while still maintaining emotional tension. The neck carries a completely different psychological effect. It is vulnerable, sensitive, and intimate. A slow kiss on the neck works not simply because of physical sensitivity, but because vulnerability increases emotional intensity. Vulnerability heightens awareness. Awareness heightens attraction. When done with patience and emotional presence, even the smallest touch can feel overwhelming because it activates both emotional anticipation and physical response simultaneously. But here is where many men fail. They focus on the action while ignoring the emotional timing. Timing is everything. A touch without emotional connection feels empty. A kiss without emotional buildup feels mechanical. The reason some moments feel unforgettable is because they happen at the exact moment emotional tension reaches its peak. That is why reading body language matters more than memorizing techniques. Attraction is not robotic. It is emotional synchronization. You have to notice the pauses in conversation, the lingering eye contact, the shift in her breathing, the way she leans closer without realizing it. These are emotional signals. And emotionally intelligent men understand that intimacy should feel mutual, natural, and emotionally aligned. This is why slower movements often create stronger reactions. Slowness communicates confidence. It shows you are emotionally in control of yourself. Rushing usually reveals anxiety, impatience, or insecurity, but patience creates suspense. And suspense is one of the most powerful emotional amplifiers in human psychology. Think about great films, music, or storytelling. The most powerful moments are rarely rushed. Tension builds gradually. Emotion develops gradually. The same principle applies to attraction. The anticipation before intimacy is often more emotionally intense than the intimacy itself. And women feel that deeply. A slow kiss near the jawline, a gentle touch on the hand, a brief pause before moving closer. These moments create emotional electricity because they allow the mind to participate. They give her space to feel the tension instead of being overwhelmed by force or speed. This is why emotional awareness matters more than performance. Many men approach intimacy like they are trying to impress a woman. But attraction is not created through performance. It is created through emotional connection, through making her feel understood, desired, comfortable, and emotionally present in the moment. And there is another layer most people never discuss. Women are highly responsive to emotional consistency. If your energy changes dramatically the moment intimacy begins, trust disappears. If you were calm, grounded, and emotionally connected before the kiss, but suddenly become aggressive or emotionally disconnected afterward, the experience loses emotional depth. Attraction grows when your emotional energy remains steady and intentional throughout the interaction. This is why self-control is attractive. A man who can remain emotionally composed while expressing desire creates safety and excitement at the same time. And psychologically, that combination is incredibly powerful. Too much safety without tension creates boredom. Too much tension without safety creates discomfort. But when both exist together, attraction becomes magnetic. Even something as simple as kissing her hand can carry emotional weight when done correctly. It communicates attention, presence, deliberateness. It shows that you are not consumed by urgency, and people are naturally drawn toward those who are emotionally disciplined enough to slow down and fully experience a moment. Because modern attraction is often poisoned by impatience, everyone wants instant gratification, instant validation, instant intimacy, but the experiences people remember most are usually the ones that unfolded naturally, slowly, and emotionally. The moments where anticipation had time to breathe, that is the deeper lesson here. Intimacy is not about finding a magical spot that makes someone lose control. It is about understanding human emotion deeply enough to recognize that the body responds most intensely when the mind and emotions are already engaged. And when a woman feels emotionally connected to your presence, your patience, your confidence, and your restraint, even the smallest kiss can become unforgettable. Because in the end, what truly overwhelms people is not physical touch alone. It is feeling emotionally seen in the moment that touch happens. By the time most men feel attraction building, they immediately want to act on it. They want reassurance. They want confirmation. They want the moment to happen as quickly as possible. But this is exactly where emotional tension often collapses, because desire does not grow through impatience. Desire grows through control, and not control over her, control over yourself. This is one of the deepest psychological truths about attraction. The people who create the strongest emotional impact are usually the ones who remain emotionally grounded in emotionally charged situations. They are not frantic, they are not desperate for validation, they are fully present, fully aware, and completely comfortable allowing tension to exist without rushing to release it. That calmness becomes magnetic. Most people think attraction is about chasing intensity, but human psychology works differently. The brain becomes more emotionally engaged when there is uncertainty, anticipation, and suspense. When everything is immediately available, emotional excitement fades quickly. Mystery disappears, curiosity disappears, and without curiosity, emotional investment weakens. This is why patience is so powerful. Patience communicates confidence in a way words never can. A man who can slow down, maintain eye contact, and stay emotionally composed sends a silent message: I am not afraid of this moment. And emotionally, that creates safety and excitement at the same time. Many men sabotage attraction because they become consumed by the outcome. They stop experiencing the moment itself and begin mentally chasing the next step, the kiss, the reaction. the validation, but the moment you become outcome focused, your energy changes, presence disappears, pressure appears, and people can feel pressure immediately. This is why emotional restraint is often more seductive than constant pursuit. Pulling back slightly after building tension can actually intensify attraction, not as manipulation, but because space allows emotion to grow. Human beings emotionally value what they have time to anticipate. The mind becomes attached to what it cannot fully predict. This is why emotionally intelligent men understand the importance of pacing. Sometimes the strongest move is pausing before the kiss instead of rushing into it. Sometimes it is holding eye contact for an extra second. Sometimes it is saying less instead of over-explaining. Emotional tension grows inside silence, mystery, and controlled energy, and this applies far beyond attraction. Philosophically, human beings are drawn toward emotional experiences that make them feel deeply present. In modern life, people are overstimulated constantly. Fast conversations, fast relationships, fast validation. Everything moves quickly. So when someone enters their life with calmness, emotional discipline, and patience, it feels different. Rare even, a man who is emotionally centered changes the emotional atmosphere around him. Women notice this more than most men realize. They notice whether your confidence is real or performative. They notice whether your calmness disappears under emotional pressure. They notice whether your desire feels grounded or needy. And the truth is, emotional steadiness creates far more attraction than forced charisma ever will. Because attraction is deeply connected to emotional security, that does not mean being emotionless. It means being emotionally stable enough to handle tension without becoming reactive. The strongest presence in any room is usually the person who does not need to prove anything. The person who can remain composed without seeking constant reassurance from others. And this is where self-control becomes attractive. When you are emotionally impulsive, your actions feel predictable. Predictability removes suspense. But when you remain patient, attentive, and intentional, emotional curiosity grows naturally. She begins paying closer attention to you because your energy feels controlled rather than chaotic. This is also why overpursuing often destroys attraction, excessive texting, constant validation seeking, over-explaining feelings too early. These behaviors usually come from anxiety, not confidence, and anxiety creates emotional pressure. But emotional pressure suffocates attraction because it removes emotional freedom from the interaction. Real attraction breathes, it unfolds naturally, it allows space for tension to develop without forcing outcomes. And the irony is, the less desperate you become for immediate validation, the more emotionally attractive you often appear. Because emotional discipline signals emotional value. A man who can delay gratification, stay present, and control his impulses demonstrates strength far beyond physical appearance. He communicates that his emotions are not unstable, reactive, or dependent on external approval, and psychologically, that creates trust. Trust is what allows emotional surrender to happen, not force, not manipulation, not rehearsed techniques. Just emotional steadiness combined with genuine presence. And perhaps that is the deeper lesson behind all of this. Attraction is not really about mastering women. It is about mastering yourself, your impatience, your insecurity, your need for constant reassurance, because when you become emotionally centered, your energy changes completely. You stop chasing moments and start creating them naturally. You stop forcing connection and start allowing connection to develop organically. And people feel that difference immediately. In the end, the men who leave the strongest emotional impact are rarely the loudest or the most aggressive. They are the ones who understand timing, the ones who understand restraint, the ones who know that real desire is built slowly, patiently, and psychologically. Because the strongest attraction is never created through desperation. It is created through calm, controlled presence that makes someone feel both emotionally safe and emotionally captivated.